The Rams are being disrespected in the fantasy world, or are they? We are talking about what Matthew Berry had to say about the top 100 fantasy football players and what Rams rank on there, as well as the Rams having some fun in Maui, all on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press that subscribe button now, as roughly 69% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not subscribed to the channel. If you're already watching, might as well press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. So daily that is 10:49 as I'm recording this after a very long day for myself, but obviously Joshua Feinhirsch out today, a little busy. I was very busy all day, but decided to still knock it out before midnight tonight, so you guys get a daily Rams video today. So show the appreciation, hit that subscribe button again so you don't miss any more daily Rams content. First things first, we are talking about, is this disrespectful? Is it not? We're talking about Matthew Berry ranking the top 100 fantasy football players. Now, I understand if you guys don't really play fantasy football, you may not have much of an interest in it, but I know a lot of football fans out there have at least played a little bit, dabbled in it, and understand the fantasy football world. So I hope you guys can enjoy. As we get closer to the season, I'm a big fantasy football player. I'm a big fantasy football fan. We're going to talk about the Rams in a fantasy football perspective from time to time. And so starting with that already very early, right? Still in the off season, as the Rams are in their Maui camp, still a long way to go before fantasy football season rolls around, yet we are starting to have these conversations, right? 3 Rams make Matthew Berry's top 100 fantasy football players for the 2025 season. This comes to us from Cameron De Silva a couple of days ago, but we have Puka Nacua there. You see the sneak peek of it, cracked the top 10, but where it gets disrespectful is where a couple of other interesting Rams offensive players rank in terms of this general top 100 rankings, as well as, hey, only 2 other ones other than Puka Nacua. So who was left on, who was left off of the top 100 fantasy football players? We'll discuss all that and much more. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about your fantasy football seasons. Do you play? Are you interested? Do you not care? Let me know how you guys feel about fantasy football in general, because I know I love it. I think Joshua Feinhirsch loves it, and we'll discuss it really well. I'm not good at it, by the way. I try my best. I think I'm okay. I'm obviously think I'm better than I really am, so therefore I'm not too good at fantasy. But let me know how you guys are at fantasy football and your fantasy football team name, especially if you use it year after year. Let me know. I want to see your team names down below. But talking specifically about this story, right? Ranking the Rams players. Here is the Roto World tweet. They're discussing Matthew Berry's top 100 here on this tweet. Matthew Berry's top 100 overall rankings. You see obviously Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, the usual suspects as you go down the list. Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Ashton Jeanty sneaks into the top 10 as a rookie for the Raiders, which is very intriguing. And then Puka Nacua sitting at number 8, which is already disrespectful, I think. You know, you're sitting there looking at the list. I think potentially Puka Nacua is probably better than Ashton Jeanty because Ashton Jeanty is such a huge question mark. But I guess if you're talking about excuse me, the first round of the draft, people in your fantasy football league may end up drafting Jeanty ahead of Puka. How do you guys feel? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Either way, I'm happy with Puka Nacua being in the top 10. I think he deserves to be in the top 10, right? But when the Rams, and we're talking about this from a football perspective as well, right? When the Rams traded for Davante Adams, yes, Puka Nacua is in his prime. Yes, obviously last year under 1,000 yards due to his injuries, but he still is a really incredible player. Almost hit that 1,000-yard mark, hit 1,400 yards in his rookie year. So it's kind of, is Puka Nacua receiver 1 or is Davante Adams receiver 1, right? That conversation kind of came up from a general football perspective. I think it's pretty safe to say Puka Nacua is your receiver 1 going into this season. But how do you guys feel about that, right? And if that is the case, is it close? Is it not close? Is Puka easily receiver 1 and Davante easily receiver 2? How do you guys feel about that dynamic? Because obviously Davante being ranked lower in fantasy football wise, it seems like Puka Nacua is getting the ball more than Davante Adams, and might be kind of a lot more than I think we would expect, right? Puka Nacua at the 7th spot or 8th spot in the top 10 rankings. Davante Adams does not show up on Matthew Berry's fantasy football rankings list until the 31st ranked player. And that is interesting. We can talk about that perspective from the Puka Nacua / Davante Adams receiver 1, receiver 2 conversation. But then Kyren Williams is at 32. No disrespect to Davante Adams, but when we're talking about the fantasy football life of recent, their careers of recent, Kyren Williams is a much better fantasy football player than Davante Adams, in my opinion. I'm talking about a second-round pick, third-round pick, latest for Kyren Williams. And yes, at times Davante Adams, because of his name in recent years, has been kind of that second, third round as well, first round as of a couple years ago. Sorry if you heard me drop some. But overall, I think it's interesting, right? I think as of last season, I haven't looked at the numbers, I haven't looked at the details, but I think I would have ranked Kyren Williams above Davante Adams, so I just thought that was kind of intriguing, but also a little disrespectful. Both of them being out the top 20 of fantasy players, both of them being outside of 25, outside the top 30 of fantasy football players. If you guys play fantasy football, let me know how you guys feel about Davante Adams, Puka Nacua being ranked that low. And then also how you feel about Matthew Stafford not cracking the top 100. No Tyler Higbee on this list either. No rookie either, on the list here for the Rams. So interesting, I think, to say the least. Let me know how you guys feel about these fantasy football rankings. Do you care about them? I know Matthew Berry is obviously a big fantasy football name, but maybe you don't really care too much about preseason rankings and you just kind of want to trust your own gut here when it comes down to fantasy football, as most of us do. Let me know how you guys feel about all that in the comment section down below. Moving on from that, a little bit lighthearted stories here today. Before we get into trivia of the day, we're talking about the Island Boys, right? The Rams obviously having a good time in Maui, having their training camp. We'll show some pictures from training camp in just a second, but we're talking about them having some fun off the field, as we are discussing here. NFL on Fox is posting this tweet. Obviously, the Rams posted it as well. The Rams at karaoke while in Maui. I saw on the video, at least players I immediately recognized. Braden Fisk was in the video. We had Kobe Turner in the video. You see someone in the comments there saying, I was there. It was fun. Shout out to Nate Dogg. And the Rams players were having a good time, listening to it, singing along with it, having fun. I think it looks awesome. And I know it's kind of just a fun, lighthearted story to talk about, but I do think there is some value to discuss that part of it, right? Not necessarily have to have a whole conversation about the Rams in Maui, right, singing karaoke, but ultimately I think the Rams having a good time with one another, appreciating one another, kind of acting like they are one of one another's family members, right? You go out and I sing karaoke, I think it's a very personal, obviously they're not singing, but when I'm having fun and singing karaoke, it's usually with some pretty good, close friends of mine, right? I don't know how you guys feel about that, but overall, I think that kind of is a factor. It shows how close this team is. It shows how much they enjoy spending time with one another. Of course, you're on this island with your teammates. Why not hang out with them? But truthfully, they are grown adults who do not have to hang out with one another, right? And so the fact that they choose to do that, the fact that they look like they have so much fun doing so, I think it all kind of means the Rams very, very close off the field. On the field, it's going to translate into some good football, hopefully, and obviously that'll be a great situation for the Rams this upcoming season. As you see here, Island Boys Rams tweet. You got a couple players here, Jimmy G, obviously Kobe Durant, some players getting ready, having some fun out in Maui. We can skip as well over to the next image here as you see the big bad Jared Verse out there looking buff, looking big, looking ready for the season. I am very jealous of his beard, by the way. Wish my beard looked that clean. Davante Adams, Puka Nacua, high-fiving some fans, having some fun out there in Maui. Overall, just kind of great vibes to see all the team having a good time, singing off the field and on the field, obviously, having some fun with fans, just smiling, really having a good time while also preparing for this upcoming NFL season. Moving on from that, last but not least, my favorite part of the episode where I ask a trivia question. You give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. We give you a shout out on the next episode. This is Trivia of the Day number 80. 80 trivias of the day. Pretty incredible, I think. Appreciate all of you guys who constantly play along with Trivia of the Day. I really appreciate you guys coming back to the videos, revisiting them, watching to the end to watch Trivia of the Day. I appreciate all of you guys for doing all of that. I really do appreciate it because it takes me a second to make these Trivia of the Days every single episode. If you missed last episode Trivia of the Day, here was the question we posed. Which quarterback first said, I'm going to Disney World after the Super Bowl? I did see a comment of someone saying they think he said Disneyland. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look this up. Unfortunately, the first ever video of him saying this. But which quarterback first said, I'm going to Disney World or Disneyland? I'm going to Disney. Which player was the first ever to say that after the Super Bowl? Was it A, Joe Theismann? Was it B, Doug Williams? Was it C, Joe Montana? Or was it D, Phil Simms? We had a few of you guys play along at home. I appreciate you guys for playing along and guessing. So you get a shout out here just like you get on every episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Freelancer says Montana, ? Thomas says Doug Williams. Glider says gotta be Joe Montana. Milano says Phil Simms. The Real J Will says gotta be the Joe Montana. Brian B says Doug Williams, I think. They said I'm going to Disneyland. He's the one that said it, by the way. Brian B, shout out to you. If that's correct, especially shout out to you. Mighty says, I'm going to guess Phil Simms. And then Floyd says Theismann. So kind of a mix of a lot of different quarterbacks you guys had, right? A lot of different guesses. I think someone guessed one of every multiple choice options, which means some of you guys got it right. Some of you guys got it wrong. The correct answer for which quarterback first said, I'm going to Disney World or Disneyland, we can go check it up after this, after the Super Bowl, was it Theismann, Williams, Montana, or Phil Simms? The correct answer was Phil Simms. So shout out to you guys who got it correct. I think it was Milano said it and Mighty said it. Just those two. I appreciate all of you guys for playing along again, whether you got it right, whether you got it wrong. Special shout out to the ones who did get it correct. If you missed it and you want to play on next episode's Trivia of the Day, and you want to get a shout out just like these folks did, go ahead and play along with today's Trivia of the Day in just a couple of seconds. Today's Trivia of the Day, as you see me lagging like crazy, is this question here. Which NFL team's mascot was once considered too intimidating for children, prompting a redesign to make him friendlier? Very kind of mascot-centric, interesting trivia of the day here. We did talk about mascots at some point in my Trivia of the Day history. If I did ask this question, let me know. It doesn't sound familiar, but I just thought about it right now. I have done a question about a mascot before. So if this is familiar, let me know. But I don't think we've ever asked this question before on the show. Which NFL team's mascot was once considered too intimidating for children, prompting a redesign to make him friendlier? Is it A, the Baltimore Ravens mascot? Was it B, the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot? Was it C, the Las Vegas Raiders mascot, which would make some sense? Or was it D, the Chicago Bears mascot? Let me know your guesses down below in the comment section. Again, whether you get it right or whether you get it wrong, doesn't matter. We give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on at the Rams Digest. That's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I am out.